I wanted to share a video today looking at how you can use tarot to support, manage, and understand your life if you are feeling overwhelmed, anxious, or perhaps heading towards burnout. Because let's be honest, life is really tough for a lot of us right now. I need just to note at this point that if you are reading tarot for yourself or someone else, we are not here to diagnose. I'm not a medical expert. If I'm supporting somebody and I am highlighting perhaps depression or mental overwhelm, I am there to make suggestions about how they could follow through with getting professional help. I am not there to diagnose. So just bringing that to the forefront right now. So a really powerful way to help to understand why you or someone you are reading for is feeling overwhelmed and burnt out is to look at the suits that crop up in the reading. If you are getting a high percentage of the Wands suit, then this burnout is probably to do with energy levels, lack of enthusiasm. I've taken on too much. I just don't have the motivation anymore, because the suit of Wands is to do with energy. If you're getting a lot of cups in a reading, then we may be looking more at how somebody's feeling, their emotional well-being. There may be issues around hormones or depression, and this is definitely to do with the heart and feelings. If we are getting lots of swords, then this is more to do with anxiety, overthinking, or mental overload, which can be truly exhausting, particularly if you are carrying a lot of mental overwhelm for your work and then coming home and carrying mental overwhelm for your home life as well. So there is a real difference between cups. There we go. Between cups, which tends to be the emotions, depression, and how am I feeling, and swords, which tends to be the mind, the mindset, overthinking, anxiety, and mental overload. And then if we are getting lots of pentacles, it may be to do with physical resilience, that your body just can't take it anymore. Now, of course, the four are fully interconnected, and often it's about finding the patterns linking the four suits that can really help you to understand why you're feeling so burnt out and exhausted. But what I love about the Four Queens is they tell you what you most need. So if you're doing a reading and one of the queens crops up, pay real attention. Of course, other ways of working with this is to take the Four Queens out of your deck, and you could intuitively sit with each queen and see how it makes you feel. Or you could, and I'll demonstrate this at the end, do a micro reading with just the Four Queens. Shuffle just the Four Queens and lay down one card. And that is the card that tells you what you most need right now. So for me, the Queen of Wands is about doing what my grandma always used to say was a little bit of what you fancy goes a long way. The Queen of Wands is about having permission to be spontaneous, to go for a walk in the rain because that's what you desire right now. The Queen of Wands reminds you that you don't need to give explanations, that investing in your passions and what energizes you is always good for the soul. I always think of the Queen of Wands as sort of almost ABBA's dancing queen. Sometimes when we are feeling overwhelmed, dispirited, and as if we're not coping, we don't need another strategy. We don't even need an early night or a day to ourselves. What we really need is a day to just go and do whatever it is you fancy doing. In fact, I did this a couple of weekends ago. I went to Brighton. I live very close to Brighton. I got up super early, I had breakfast in Brighton, I got my hair cut, and then I went to see the latest Jason Statham film. all by myself. And I came back and I felt so much better. So if you're getting the Queen of Wands, you need more spontaneity in your life. You need a little bit more of whatever brings you joy. The Queen of Cups reminds you to meet your own emotional needs first. Now, I hate the phrase, you can't pour from an empty cup or an empty jug, but you know what? It's right. So if you're getting the Queen of Cups, this is about sitting with your own emotional self. That might involve journaling. It might involve actually watching or reading something that makes you feel sad, and kind of triggering that release. It might just involve going for a walk by yourself and just sitting with how you feel. So to me, the Queen of Wands is much more about, I'm just going to have some fun now. The Queen of Cups is about tending to your own emotional needs. The Queen of Swords is about speaking your truth. And this usually comes out in the form of boundaries. And the concept that no is a complete sentence. When we look at the Queen of Swords, she's not looking at you, the reader. And the sword is completely upright. There is only one bird in the sky. She is going to put her boundaries in place. She's going to say what she needs to say, regardless of how the other person receives it. So this isn't about, I often find this isn't so much about bringing up old wounds and saying to somebody, oh, you really hurt me when. This is much more about saying, no, I'm not able to do that today. Or, thanks for the invite. I actually just need some time to myself right now. So don't think about this so much about as expressing your feelings to someone else, because arguably that might come more into the Queen of Cups. This is more about using your words to create the boundaries that you need in your life right now. And then if we've got the Queen of Pentacles, she's much more about the physical realm of life. This might be about taking the time to cook a really good home-cooked meal, or taking the time to declutter a room, or maybe booking a massage. So if you're getting the Queen of Pentacles, you need to look after your physical well-being, which may not be your health. It may be your home. It may even be getting your car checked out. This is to do with taking care of your physical self and environment. And I find micro readings can be really helpful, because one of the things is, if we are overwhelmed, doing big spreads about the future just aren't that helpful, because often if we're feeling overwhelmed, it's because managing our life is too much. So bring the cards into the present moment. What do I most need right now at this point? Take your 4 queens, shuffle carefully. And that's absolutely on point. If I had sat and chosen a queen consciously, I would have chosen the Queen of Swords. I need to get much better with my boundaries, particularly with my adult children. I need to get much more comfortable with simply saying no in all areas of my life. And it's something I'm really sitting with. So give it a go. Choose your 4 queens. Maybe make it a journaling exercise. Maybe sit with each of the queens and say, if I was going to just have a day to myself, spontaneously, for no reason, what would I choose to do? Would I go to the theatre? Would I go to an art gallery? Would I go to a restaurant all by myself to just eat a well-cooked meal? Say to yourself, what does nurturing my emotional self feel like to me? Do I prefer to do a visualization, or to journal, or to do some artwork, Or actually, does it involve booking in a chat with a really good friend? Check in with yourself. What are my boundaries like? Do I feel comfortable saying what I need to say without overthinking the impact on the other person? And do I meet my physical needs? Do I, declutter? Do I eat the food that makes me feel healthy? How do I meet my physical needs? Really see how the 4 queens can help you to manage burnout, anxiety, and overwhelm in our crazy modern life.